Welcome back. Well, if you are looking for the ideal rivet for your race team, one that's going to hold up, one that's fast, and one that's made in America, look no further than aDP. I'm here with Peter. And Peter, I tell you what, very impressed with your product. First of all, right out of the gate, made in America. Very few things are these days. And secondly, rivets that really work are extremely fast and get the job done. Is that right?
That's very true. Our rivets are designed for the racing industry as well as the industrial world, but we're the only manufacturer left in the USA, sad to say, that manufactures and designs rivets for metalworking, racing, industrial applications where the product is used a great deal, and mobile, vibration resistant is very important for the racing. Durability is a great asset of ours. Our rivets have been in race cars for 2 and 3 years, where most people say they don't last a race. So that's one of the things we like to tout about. And the other thing that we manufacture is different lengths. We have a one-size-fits-all that's new for 2012.
You actually have many different types of applications, don't you?
Yes, in the racing industry, they're used everywhere from the holding on body panels to holding on the windshields to holding on structural components. I've had people tell me they use them to hold in their gas tanks, which I'm a little surprised at, but racers have a unique sense about them. They invent as they go along. They're grassroots people that make do with what they have available to them. And one of the biggest things they like about our products is it'll work anywhere. They don't have to have a precision drilled hole. They could have an oversized worn out hole. They could have layers as thick as 5/8 thick, whereas most rivets won't do that. They won't even come close to that. So they could have something very thick or something very thin, and our one rivet will do them both.
You know, how important is that, Peter? Because, you come in from a race, rarely are you dealing with a hole that is perfectly drilled. It's usually been used a couple of times. It's oversized, as you say, and now I have to hopefully put something up there and it will hold. They do work because you've designed them from the inside out.
Oh, yes. Going back in my younger days, I was an engineer consulting for Ford Motor Company. And back in the days where Ford was touting their Q1, best car in America, best quality, I had a vice president of Ford sit at a big long conference table, pick up a handful of rivets and throw them at me across the room and said, I want rivets I could do this and they're going to work on our cars. And he sent me home with that challenge, and within 3 months we came back to his door and his conference room table, and he pretty much complimented us and sent us on a speaking tour to all of the Ford plants. What we did was really take out the stress levels that people have with fasteners. Screws get loose, rivets torque themselves, not rivets, but screws and nuts and bolts. One of the disadvantages is they have to be torqued correctly, otherwise they loosen up. And in cars, just like race cars and transportation cars, there's always metal working and metal vibration. So we had to design a rivet that would work with any application, with any installer, with virtually any tool. As you can imagine, automotive assembly plants are a lot different from in the pits with people fixing their cars during halftime or during intermission. So we had to make something that was fail-proof. The hole size didn't matter. As long as the tool would pull the nail and work, great. The person didn't have to be highly skilled. They just had to pull the trigger on the rivet and put the rivet in the hole. And our rivets we call them the ultimate rivets. They're multi-grip rivets that have been enhanced. They'll work in, as I said, paper thin, which I'll do a demo later, and a business card, up to 5/8 thick, which is unheard of in the rivet industry. And to have the nail never stick out. One of the common things you'll see in race cars, if you walk during a race or during the pits, people walk around with cutting pliers or snipping pliers and snip off the ends of nails that are sticking out the sides of their cars because the rivets failed. And people are just saying, well, isn't that what always happens? And I say, no, that's not what should happen. You should have a flush, safe finish after the rivet is set. And it's an education process. We've been doing this for about 8 years now. We've been making rivets for 30 years. And I don't look at one day older in all these years, but it goes back to those days in the early Ford assembly plants where they were trying to design a product that would work no matter how somebody used it and no matter what the application was.
Paper thin. You have a business card we can actually demonstrate on here.
We have a business card. We're going to take a standard rivet, one of our ultimate multi-grip rivets. We punched holes in this card. We're going to take this is our tool, but you can use any tool. The nail sets, as you notice, there's no nail sticking out this side, even in paper. I challenge any other manufacturer to duplicate that, and I doubt you'll find one that will. Most other distributors or manufacturers that sell other products of Me Too rivets, they won't do that test because their nail will be sticking out. The backside is smooth and round and safe, but yet it swells out and it sits tight. You could even spin that paper without the rivet moving. It's very tight. If you were here, I'd challenge everybody to go ahead and do this. I'll send you a couple of business cards and a handful of rivets. You can do it yourself. In fact, this test has gotten us the most visibility in the past 5 years. I have dealers calling me up saying, the first thing I'm going to do is put it in paper. And I said, go ahead, try them all you want. That's a great test of ours. That's our standard rivet. Now, new in 2012, we have this one size fits all. As you can see, it's much longer. I'll do the same test. It's sticking way out, but yet I'll do the paper test with it. The nail is not coming close. So you could use our one size fits all to go from paper thin up to 5/8, or the standard length rivet, which most people are used to. Either one, they're priced comparably. They're in many cases less than what you're paying now. And again, you can use any tool to set them. You don't need our tool here. New for this year, exploding rivets. We make an exploding peeler version because after doing the research on exploding rivets, we found out that most of them come loose very quickly, even the ones that are designed to have a tighter clamp. And the reason for that is not the fault of the rivet, but the way it was designed. It splits in 3 petals and it holds basically in thirds. So you have 3 petals that hold on your application hole, and about 30% of the hole is void of any clamping whatsoever. One of the most important things when you're designing fasteners is to have a joint after it's fastened to be clamped together as tightly as possible, and to have as much of the 360 degrees around that whole circumference to be in contact with the fastener, so that it's not just 3 points you're touching on, it's as much as possible. Again, that goes back to designing when you're designing to hold vehicles together for vibration and metal movement, metal working it's called, a phenomenon where as you drive your car down the road, whether it be a passenger car or a race car, the metal is actually moving, vibration. The tracks aren't all the same, especially on dirt tracks. You got a lot of movement, a lot of rubbing and grinding going on, and our rivets, when they set, they expand out as well as compress down, which is a very unique way that we do ours. And so you're getting swelling plus compression and tightness of sets.
I noticed they are a little bit different, and that makes the difference when it actually is put into use for the exploding rivet.
Yeah, people have seen multi-grip rivets. Some people call ours multi-grips. It's not just a multi-grip. A multi-grip will not set in paper and still have a flush set here. Also, multi-grips are different from ours because they have limited grip ranges. Even though they're called multi-grip, their grip range is not as long as ours is from paper to 5/8. So there is a few distinctive differences between our rivets and some others you might buy. Okay, one of the things I want to show you in comparison is this is a typical exploding rivet sold by other vendors. This is our exploding peel rivet, new for this year. And as you notice, they're the same length. And I'm going to demonstrate the power that ours has versus the competition. This is banding material, typical steel banding material with a space in between. This is our exploding peel rivet. As you can see, it pulled all the way down. The material, there's no space in between the metal, so there's no air gap anymore, and it's clamping that material together so that there's no visibility of any spaces. Now we're going to show you the typical competition's exploding rivet. Same application. Again, you don't need this tool, any tool will work. There's air gaps there, and you can see that the metal is fairly loose. So it didn't pull with enough clamping to actually hold things together tightly. And that nail is real close to the top there. It's not sticking out, but if you had to drill this out, it would be extremely easy to drill out. And the third test I'm going to do is our ultimate one-size-fits-all rivet. That's the tightest clamp of all three. I can't even move these pieces of metal. You can see my fingers turning white there, and it's sealed the rivet. It's swelled up on the backside here to fill that hole 100%. And on the flush finish side, there's no nails sticking out to the front. So everything is tightly clamped here. You can't even move this without a lot of strenuous force. One of the advantages to our Ultimate rivets is the way they're designed. This is the back side of the rivet. The nail always stays in the back 100% of the time. That's why you can set them in paper. So no matter when you have to drill them out, the drill only has to break through this surface, and this comes off on your drill bit, and this falls out the inside of your car. So our Ultimate rivets are extremely easy to drill out when you have to replace them.
With that said, Peter, right now, I know you have to have the attention of all of our viewers out there. What's the best way for them to learn more about aDP Rivet?
Websites are very popular these days. So our website is aDPRivet.com or aDPRivet.net. And you'll see videos. We encourage our race teams that we have to do their own little videos, and we put them up on our website. So it's not just us talking or me. We want people to see what other people have done with our products. So you could visit our website and watch the videos. You could obviously call us up. Our phone number and contact information is there. The internet helps a lot, and the videos show you how the rivet is used and what the grassroots racers have done with our product on their vehicles. That's the best way to find us.
Well, good enough, Peter. A pleasure having you on again. Thank you so much.
Same here.